Unit 7 test. Part B. Audio 1. 1. Ray.
Not long ago, I had an interview for a delivery job. I got there a bit early, so I decided to check the details of the interview on my phone. That's when I realised I'd gone to the wrong office. I was meant to be on the other side of the city, and the interview was starting in 10 minutes. I called the interviewer to warn them I'd be late, but he told me not to bother. He said I needed to be able to read addresses to do the job.
2. Amy.
I'm in charge of a small team at work, and one day I noticed them just hanging around the reception. We were really busy at that time, so I told them to stop chatting and get back to work. I was a bit surprised when no one moved. They just looked at each other nervously. Then one of them stepped forward and gave me a present. She whispered, "Happy birthday, boss," and then they all left the reception in silence. Well, I felt terrible, and I couldn't stop apologizing for the rest of the day.
3. Jim.
I'd just arrived in Spain, and I didn't speak much Spanish. I'd just moved into a new flat, and I had to get an electrician to do some work. He'd said he'd come at 12 o'clock, but he still hadn't arrived by 1:30. I didn't have a phone to call him, so I went to the office. When I got there, I found out that he was waiting at my flat because the appointment was at 2 o'clock. The problem is that 2 and 12 sound similar in Spanish.
4. Molly.
A while ago, I sent a text message to my friend Ruth to see how she was. We ended up chatting about our families, and I mentioned that Neil wasn't very well. After a few seconds, she asked me who Neil was. I said, "My husband, of course." But she didn't respond, which seemed strange. A few days later, Ruth called me, so I mentioned the conversation. That's when she told me she'd changed her number. I hadn't been texting her at all, but a complete stranger who had her old number.
5. Jack.
Last year, I was staying with my friend and her family in Greece. They didn't know English, and I couldn't speak a word of Greek. On the last day, her parents prepared a special meal to say goodbye to me. At one point, her mother wanted to give me some more dessert, but I was full. I put my hand up to tell her I didn't want any more, and she started yelling at me. It turned out that my hand gesture is considered extremely rude in Greece.